audio being sent. Is that are we having an audio-visual issue, or are you asking about a recording later? If so, yes, we will be sending a recording later.
And maybe just put in the chat there to make sure everyone's hearing us okay, because we are speaking. Okay, so as an introduction to SOS, where does SOS come from? We were founded in 2001, rather humble beginnings, as a dorm room startup, and that was in Melbourne, Australia, rather than Silicon Valley. And for the next 3 or 4 years, it was very kind of side work. So it wasn't until 2005 that we actually launched to the wider U.S. market, and then becoming the point at which we're an international operated company. And in 2006, in our version 1.3 beta client, we actually won our first PCMag Editor's Choice Award. So if we look at the graph here, where it shows innovators, early adopters, is with new technology and new markets. It's really your Econ 101 graph. That was very much in the early innovators part of the graph to the left. And over time, we've moved through the early adopters, which was really 2007 to 2011. We saw 30% growth year over year between those years, and that was primarily in consumer land. So people who don't have a lot of barriers to entry, those users who are a little more savvy about the needs of their systems. And surprising statistic, the majority of early adopters were actually women between the ages of 28 and 35 for that early adoption phase. Where we are now in the early majority is we're starting to see the more conservative groups, the small businesses, start to adopt this type of technology as a regular part of their business operations for disaster recovery planning or their backup plan. So the reasons for this great adoption in the SMB market is, one, it's proven. So after so many users use it personally, these users, for the most part, will be working, and it gets just wider notoriety. Also, the advances in technology. People have become familiar with online banking. If you do any online banking, we are 3 times more secure than that. So the one SSL we use for transfer of data is a single banking encryption method, whereas we're encrypting data before transfer, during transfer, and upon storage. So we are much more secure than that. The biggest reason for this wide growth and adoption is available infrastructure. So infrastructure is always a big part of moving new markets, as we see with the Google fiber lines that are going to be started out in Kansas City. High-speed internet has become more widely available in different parts of the country. That also with the availability of 4G networks through Clear Data and other companies. So we're really moving into, and we are right now in a huge adoption, which the IDC in the bottom right is, we've quoted, is looking at a huge explosion of this market. Right now we see that most SMBs have maybe a user or 2 who are using online backup, and actually they have maybe 16% of them are using it in some way, and then the other 70% are looking to start using it. Not only are we looking at an increase in adoption per business, but also the scope of adoption. So rather than just a single user being your online backup strategy, now online backup becomes a primary point of your backup strategy rather than a complement. So we're looking at huge growth in the next few years.
Yeah, absolutely. And so this begs the question, if there's huge growth in SMB online backup, then what exactly are they looking for, and how can you be sure that that's what you're going to provide them? All of these studies indicate that what they're looking for is total business data protection, which means they're looking for coverage and online backup and business continuity that pertains to their workstations, servers, laptops, and mobile devices. So anything in the office that's stationary or that leaves the office, it all includes employee and company data, which is very, very precious and worth a great deal for people that are trying to run businesses. It all needs to be protected, and it really all needs to be protected with one system and monitored by one system. And so that's what we're going to show you today. All of those capabilities are available in the SOS 360-degree partner program.
So as we look through the program, we've designed this with the intent that the primary target audience for our partners are small businesses. Of course, mixed in there, some of you may have retail shops. Those of you who do, if you could just kind of quote what you do have, that'd be great. But our partner program spans the whole gamut. The primary focus is that you are serving small businesses, and then in there you may have some consumers that you do some basic break fix for, or maybe retail services, reselling hardware or software. And then also we have partners who do serve enterprise customers. So we really meet it all. In fact, we even have an accounting firm that is a partner of ours just because they do a value add of selling the online backup service with their tax, their annual tax package. And it really helped them out because they were coming to us for a backup account, and they told us how they, their customers kept losing their tax data, and it was problematic and costing them money. So then by having a backup account for each of their users to back up their tax data, then it made every subsequent year much simpler to continue doing the taxes. So we, again, every model we service, and our focus of the partner program is the biggest part of our business.
Yeah, absolutely. Just to expand a little bit on what Derek just said, I want to show you something else that's available within the 360-degree partner program and that we really pride ourselves on, and that is the Partner Resource Center. So we're here to make sure that you sell online backup and you sell it on a regular basis. And we provided a number of pieces of information and rebrandable materials to help you do that. So within the Partner Resource Center, which you'll have access to when you become a partner and have access to our dashboard, we include sales information, including sales presentations and guides, a disaster recovery template, compliance guidelines, a number of email marketing templates, and some retail pricing information. Also, we've got our product information here, and some videos on administrative and technical information. So there's a lot of information here for you once you become a partner. So if anybody has any reservations about how they would possibly learn to sell online backup, we've got a lot of resources and tools here for you included in the program at no additional fee. We also have a business development manager that's here to help you post-sale. His name is Mike Zarudny, and his job is to make sure that you are selling online backup and that you are successful at it. And all of your questions, be they marketing, sales, or managerial, are answered. So how does the SOS 360-degree partner program compare against some other partner programs out there? You guys are probably shopping around. You've probably done some other webinars, and that's cool. You should totally shop around. This is just to help you see where some of the big differences are. The SOS 360-degree partner program really shines in its partner support, especially post-sale. So we do the Partner Resource Center like we just saw, as well as our business development manager at your disposal. We also include online sales capabilities. So if you are purchasing from us wholesale, you'll be able to sell on your own website template, which we provide you, and that money never passes through our hands. So the idea is to create the opportunity for passive sales for you. So you could be making money on online backup while you're sleeping, effectively. And you can customize this website template, and Derek will show you a bit more about that later on. Also, a great feature of this program is that there is no hardware required. Frequently, partner programs require you to purchase $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 machines, and SOS does not require you to do that. We're simply here to provide you online backup and methods in which to sell it. We're not here to sell you hardware or force you to buy hardware. You're welcome to use whatever you like. Also, we do have worldwide data center presence, which is pretty important, especially to those of you that may be in Canada, Europe, or Australia. We have data centers in the United Kingdom, across the United States, Toronto, Canada, Melbourne, Australia, and Cape Town in South Africa. So what all is in the SOS product suite? We talked a bit about how SMBs and larger businesses want to buy a complete solution from one provider. And that is really what you see here. On the right-hand side of the screen, you've got some squares that are green. This is our system data and app data backup. This is what you get in the SOS ServerSave product. So you would be able to do SQL server backup, Exchange server backup, and granular recovery, SharePoint backup, file server backup, as well as really any Windows-based server. So Windows server backup, of course, you can do too. And what's really great about it is that it is a bare metal image backup that can be restored to dissimilar hardware. There are a lot of bare metal image backups out there that cannot do that. And of course, what good would that be if you had to back up a machine that later got destroyed or otherwise compromised? Of course, you'd be restoring the image to a new machine. So you do need to be able to restore to dissimilar hardware. On the left-hand side of the screen are some blue and green squares. These are really our bread and butter, what we call our desk-like backup is our backup for PC and Mac. PC backup is what we have been awarded PC Magazine's Editor's Choice Award for 4 times. Our Mac product is also available to you and can be rebranded, and this is included in the program. Again, no additional cost. We also provide partner iPhone apps and Android apps, because these are not SOS branded and can be used by any of your customers. We have a question from HK. Sorry if I'm saying that wrong. Can we have this material after the webinar for further study? You absolutely can. You can ask your partner specialist for the PDF of the presentation, and you'll also receive a recording afterwards. So what else is in SOS ServerSave? We just talked briefly about how it is backup for operating systems, system applications, and endpoints. But what exactly is in it? When you buy the SOS ServerSave package, you get Exchange backup and granular recovery. So this is recovery for mail items, messages, contacts, calendar items, anything that was ever in an Exchange inbox. You can restore deleted files, and this helps a great deal with regulation compliance, particularly for law firms. Bare Metal Image Creator performs bare metal image backup for Exchange, Windows servers, SQL servers, SharePoint servers, and file servers, and these can, of course, be controlled from one location. Our Online Backup and Recovery Manager performs the actual backup of the bare metal image, and, of course, for files and folders. And you can control and report this from one central location, which you'll see in a little bit. Of course, workstation backup, so that, again, is our bread and butter. That's really what this company was built on, is backup for PCs, laptops, desktops, Macs. And we've also included our Premier Web Integration Package. So this is the piece that can give you the ability to sell online backup online. I realize that sounds a bit redundant, but I really mean online backup on your own website template. And of course, access to our mobile applications for you and all of your customers. So what does SOS ServerSave compare to? It's not just a regular old file and folder backup solution. It's much, much more than that. And if anyone is unclear on that, please do ask a question and let me know. I want to make sure that that is definitely clear to everybody on the line, to let you know that if you're an MSP or an IT consultant, you have the ability to sell complete server backup and a complete business continuity solution to your customers through this program. So SOS ServerSave, of course, includes all the basics: Exchange backup and granular recovery, Windows server backup, SharePoint server backup, SQL backup, of course. It also includes complete centralized management. And as of next week, it will include remote deployment. And we also say that it includes military-grade security. So what this means is that all images, all files are encrypted locally, in transit, and at rest in the data center. Not to mention the fact that the data center is a military-grade data center as well. Same features that protect it are used to protect the U.S. government's data. So it's very robust, and you certainly never need to worry about anything compromising that facility. We also offer unlimited, I called it here, infinite archiving. So that means any information that you've backed up does stay backed up forever, or at least the life of your account. Many firms, who will remain nameless in my eyes, do not offer this. They choose to delete data or prevent access to data after 30 or 45 days. So I don't see what good that is if you're trying to do backup and recovery for information that you only have access to for 30 or 45 days. You don't know when you're going to need to do a recovery. It might be in 60 days. It might be in 6 months. But you do need to be able to have access to that data, and your customers would probably really appreciate that. I'll pause here and see if there are any questions. We do love to get questions from you guys. We want to be able to tailor this presentation to you as much as possible. So if you could tell me what kind of businesses you're backing up, this would be really helpful when we get to the compliance section of this presentation. Are you backing up law firms, CPAs, real estate firms, medical practices? Who is it that you're backing up? Okay, we got banks, investment companies, medical practices. Cool, okay, this is going to be really informative for you. You will be able to make all of your customers rest easy knowing that their data is backed up to military grade data centers. So what are all the features that make data centers military grade? They're secured with 24/7 watch by a human, video surveillance, biometric credential requirements. So that means either fingerprint scans or retina scans to get in the location. Backup generators, generally these are diesel backup generators with approximately 3 to 4 days of fuel to keep the data center running, and temperature and humidity controls. And our U.S. data centers are located in Los Angeles, Dallas, and Houston, and our Canadian data centers located in Toronto. SK says, they asked me about security for their data in another country. Hopefully we can help you with that. What country are they asking about? Is your customer in another country, or are they looking for backup just in a specific country? Let me know. Hopefully we can talk a bit about that. You're based in Nigeria. Okay, well, we just recently launched a data center in South Africa. So hopefully that's really helpful to you. Our other data centers are located in Australia, the UK, US, and Canada. Okay. Let me know if you have any more questions about that, HK. So let's talk a bit about compliance and regulations. Hopefully that's what a lot of you guys are interested in hearing about today. We're going to talk about HIPAA, Sarbanes-Oxley, and PCI. I think that should probably hit home for especially you, David, who's got some medical practices that you're going to be backing up. This is the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act of 1996. So hopefully you're all familiar with it because it's been around for a while. The compliance deadline was February 2005. So most of your customers that have any association with medical data or health data whatsoever are probably familiar with it. So who must comply with HIPAA? It affects the IT areas of medical practices, which every medical practice has an IT area. An IT area counts as anyone using a computer, anyone using information technology whatsoever. So what does HIPAA have to do with online backup? The Act states that CEs, or covered entities, must implement basic safeguards to keep electronic protected health information from unauthorized access, alteration, deletion, or transmission. So online backup is key to preventing especially deletion. If your data is backed up and it is backed up with unlimited file archiving, of course it's not going to be deleted. Unless you physically go in there and do it yourself for some reason. I don't know why you do that.
And on top of that, HIPAA did recently add, well, I guess recently is relative. In the last 2 years, HIPAA added that local backups had to be encrypted at AES 128-bit as well. So we have that functionality available for you through both our the online backup, local backup function, but more specifically the image-based backup system, which you can encrypt your data, which is what you would use for servers. So the HIPAA compliance, really the big thing to look out for in our system is UltraSafe. UltraSafe is the final step in being HIPAA compliant. UltraSafe means that there is no password recovery option, and that really is it. Right now, SOS technicians would have the availability per explicit permission to access backup account information for troubleshoot help and account help. Through HIPAA compliance, our techs would not have the availability to do that, and if the password was lost, we would just be out of luck. There's no password recovery, and that's the last step. for all the other compliances that we have with Sarbanes-Oxley, SSAE 16, EU Safe Harbor, all these things have to do primarily with the level of data centers at which we're storing data, RAID configurations of how the data is stored to make sure that there's a backup on our end as well. The access to that information, so even within SOS, there's only 2 authorized bodies who are allowed to go into one of our data centers. That's why our data seeding service is not a physical seed where we're walking in and plugging in a drive, but still done through software, still done remotely. And it's because of all the security behind it. So our focus on security was debatably a hindrance to our growth in the early adoption years, because naturally the early adopters, being consumers, weren't as concerned with such security. But we stayed true to our security roots, and now that we're in a small business phase, we are seeing all of that investment pay off. Being the most secure in the online backup market was something that we've always boasted, but it's now something that's really showing through to our true colors and the adoption we have in financial services, government entities, education, and medical.
Yeah, absolutely. So another question about security from Educate. His customers want to know whether security of their data in South Africa would not be tampered with, since it's not in Nigeria. Well, this definitely goes along with the level of security that we provide with all of our data centers. All of our data centers are Tier 3 or Tier 4. And we do a piece of documentation that you can get from your partner specialist, and that actually we've got in the Partner Resource Center, that details exactly what is included in a Tier 3 data center, which is the one that is in Cape Town. And it's effectively the same as Tier 4. It's really not that much different. I believe the only difference is in the type of cooling that's used. Everything else, the video surveillance, the integrity of the structure, everything else is the same as a Tier 4.
Yeah, it's a significant figure difference for the uptime. So the question of, I'm in Nigeria, what about storing it in South Africa? How secure is it from tampering? Very secure. So the encryption locally and then the encryption via transfer, the encryption upon storage, means that even if your computer was seized in Nigeria, they wouldn't necessarily have access to your data. If let's say the South African data center gets overrun by some terrible riot, I don't know. You can pull all the drives you want, that the drives are going to be inaccessible to you. It's not going to be readable information. So you'd be fine there. So it would literally be an international court of justice, through the ICJ, to get international warrants to search an internationally operated and owned company's data structure, and then also to get warrants to somehow get your authorization codes from you. So there's a lot of steps involved. It wouldn't be a short process, and it probably wouldn't be that cheap to get done either.
Yeah, absolutely. Quick question from Rob. Yes, Rob, these slides are definitely going to be sent out later. You can get the PDF from your partner specialist, and you can get the recording from us when we send it to you. All right, Sarbanes-Oxley. So this affects pretty much every business in the United States, and a lot of businesses that do business in the United States. Public and private companies must comply with Sarbanes-Oxley. Sarbanes-Oxley in general is a system of controls designed to prevent companies from doing things with their money that they're not supposed to do. And another piece of that the United States added into this is that it was required that the businesses develop a complete business continuity and disaster recovery solution. And it must be in place and operational. So you must be able to provide proof of it. CEOs and CFOs of firms, public and private, must verify that a business disaster recovery solution is in place by way of a system of internal controls. So the internal controls do a lot of things. One, they verify that records are properly being kept and not tampered with or deleted. And they also just ensure that they're not going to be affected by a disaster. So the business does have the ability to continue on running as it should. The compliance deadline was the middle of 2004, so most of your customers are probably familiar with this. And what's the risk if you don't comply with Sarbanes-Oxley? You could actually lose customer data. You don't want that. You could be the victim of a lawsuit. You could have the inability to go public. If any of your customers are on that track to ever go public, then they certainly need to have a business continuity and disaster recovery solution in place. And they lose the inability to prove that records have not been falsified. So if anybody remembers back to the early 2000s, remembers Enron and remembers that that's the reason that Sarbanes-Oxley was created, falsifying information was a big problem. So that's really why we have Sarbanes-Oxley today.
And that's why, again, we're so popular with financial firms, is because the unlimited versioning guarantees that there's no tampering of information. So we never delete versions from your system, and you cannot alter a version. So altering a version gives you a new version. So this type of audit history is critical when you're talking about such an act.
Yeah. And then finally, payment card industry. This, again, is a compliance regulation that touches almost every business. It affects any business that's processing credit card transactions. So unless you're a little mom and pop shop that's only using cash, this is probably going to affect you. It probably affects you even as an MSP. What does PCI have to do with online backup? PCI requires that companies build and maintain a secure network, protect cardholder data, so that lends itself to offsite backup, need for offsite backup. They must also maintain a vulnerability management program and maintain an information security policy. So this is kind of the same thing as Sarbanes-Oxley. So anyone processing credit card information must be able to maintain a business continuity system and prove that it's operational, because you don't ever want to lose that customer data, which now includes credit card information. And customer data is the most commonly lost type of information, probably because it's the most prevalent. When was the compliance deadline? It was January 2011.
Yeah, and this also has to do with the web integration package that we have, because the web integration package that we offer to our partners does have e-commerce integration. Now, the web package does not need to be PCI compliant as far as server scans and all that, because the web package is hosted separately as a backup. But with our system, it's not actually holding any of the payment information, so the PCI compliance in respect to the web package would be on behalf of your payment gateway. So authorize.net, PayPal, whoever is actually processing and holding the information. The web package is simply all that they're required to do is not store the information, which we don't, and transfer the information over a secure SSL, which we do.
Thanks, Derek. Of course, the risk of not complying with PCI is lost customer data, exposure of customer data, or, of course, a lawsuit, which, of course, none of us want. Are there any questions about that or anything else? I know that Rob just joined, so Rob, if you've got any questions at all, please let us know. And if there are any, we'll go ahead and move on to pricing. And then after that, we'll get into a quick demo with Derek. So what is the pricing and revenue opportunity? You get a lot of stuff with this program, and of course, the plans are flexible. So there's a lot of opportunity to get started, and it's really easy to get your online backup business started. How many of you currently include online backup in your business? Or how many of you are looking to include it? Hopefully everyone is looking to include it. I hope so. And so we've got some easy ways for you to get started.
And maybe, what are you all looking for out of this program? Because everyone is familiar with backup systems. Are you looking to attach this as an add-on to some retail sales? So every time you do a virus removal, what's the first thing you do in virus removal? Back up the drive. Include an online backup with it. Sell a hard drive, include a backup. Sell a machine, include a backup. If you're doing tech services, then a default part of your service offering should be a backup strategy or a backup solution. And within that backup solution, you have both local and offsite backup. And that's kind of what we're looking at here.
So David says he does include online backup. Cool. Hopefully we've answered some of your questions about why the service is different. Let's talk a bit about the ways that you can get started. So our entry-level program we call SOS ServerSave 5. So this is the ServerSave solution, which includes server backup. It includes 5 server backup licenses. This is to do a bare metal image. And you can use that on any variety of Windows server you like. So these are not specific to a certain kind of server. If you want to mix and match, say you want to do 3 Exchange server backups and 2 SQL server backups, you can do that. We don't care how you use it. Same thing with your cloud space. In ServerSave 5, it does come with 1 terabyte of cloud space. You can utilize that however you like, on any customers you like. It does not have to be attached to the servers or attached to any specific customer. That's the beauty of a wholesale solution, is the amount of flexibility that you get. And also your margin is unlimited. The margin per server license price that we've included here is simply if you're selling it as a commodity. If you're selling it as a managed service or even a value add on to another service like Derek was just describing, say you do, you develop a new machine for somebody, you create a new machine. Of course, include online backup with that cost. Because you want to make sure that that new machine that you've just built for somebody and deployed in their environment is protected. So our bare bottom of the bucket, suggested retail price for 1 server license with 250 gigabytes is $129 a month. If you did that 5 times over, you sold all of your server licenses and all of your gigs in your ServerSave 5 package, you'd be making $246 a month, recurring revenue. Of course, that amount goes up with the larger package that you buy, because if you buy in bulk, of course, your price goes down, so your margin can go up. If you were selling all of your server licenses at this bare bones commodity price in the ServerSave 25 package, you'd be making $2,300 a month recurring revenue.
Right, and that's just to give you a basic overview of what it's going to be and what you're looking at. But really, you want to talk to our partner specialists, because what they're going to do is they're going to go through what you're looking at. They're going to ask about your business and get an understanding of how you operate, what kind of customers you have, what kind of growth that you would like to have with this new program or just in general. And from there, put together a ROI with you. That way, we make sure that, 1, you're going to make money in this program, because that's the whole point. We're not here for charity. Well, some of you may be, but for the most part, we're here to make some money, and we want to make sure that we're not misplacing our partners in a position where they won't be making money, or if they're going to be leaving money on the table. So it's really important that you call up the partner specialist hotline. Again, that's 877-896-3611, extension 1, and you'll be good to go.
Yeah, absolutely. And for those of you that are not in the United States, that number is 310-878-2626. I'll go ahead and put that in the chat here. And then I'll go ahead and let Derek get started on the demo portion of this. Hopefully you guys will have a lot of questions about that. We haven't answered a whole lot of your questions, so we certainly look forward to doing that. Okay. I'll go ahead and hand it over to Derek.
All right, thanks, Sheilin. All right, so I'm going to pull up a little VM we have running Server 2008 R2. And before I get there, I'm just going to pull up our website. So here, Sheilin was showing you the Resource Center. And our website's a great resource for our customers, existing and prospective. So with our site, we have a lot of information up here. So we have a speed test winner that you can take a look at, how long it took a typical backup set on a typical network environment. And we came out on top. And really, that was with our version 4 software. This last spring, we just rewrote the whole base code for our upload agent. So it's tested about 40% faster, handle much larger files, much more streamlined way. The transfer rate also, because we don't throttle our business users. If we had a faster internet connection during this test, we would have seen that SOS time frame much smaller. Like one of our customers, we're not even just dealing with recently, called in support because they saw that their account had backed up 40 gigabytes in a single day. I was wondering what the growth may have been attributed to. And then just last night, we had a customer who backed up 20 gigs over a course of 9 hours. So you can get pretty quick. Market average is, you can get about an hour per gig is a good estimate to go into, but all that information's here. More than that is our support site. So we just moved our whole support team to Los Angeles. So if you call in 877-896-3616, you're going to get our partner support hotline. You give them your partner username so they can look up your account and put everything underneath there, and they'll go ahead and take care of you. We have chat as well as submitting a ticket. If you visit my knowledge base, the knowledge base is really terrific. So we have public community forums. So for those of you considering being a partner, the Send Us site is pretty new. So we don't have any articles in here. But for instance, we do have one article where it's like, how do you have ServerSave configured? So we have a discussion that's between myself, our CEO, our different engineers, other techs who are implementing the service to go through strategies of how to implement the different pieces of software. Also, we have feature requests, so you can vote on that, and it's really a terrific resource. Also, we have a partner beta group that we just launched, and the beta group has much more detailed information as far as voting on new features to be added to our product roadmap. I actually publish our product roadmap every 2 weeks. So it'll give you an update on what's been built, what's in progress, and what's been planned to be built next. That way you have an idea of what's coming and what's going. And it keeps you a part of it. And also, it provides a feedback loop for SOS so we know what you want. Traditionally, we have been doing it just through support and by doing various webinars and getting a lot of feedback like we do now. But now we actually have a formal partner beta community to which we just are launching this week a brand new product called SOS Collaborate, and we're very happy about that. It's the secure version of a Dropbox or Box.net, and again, if you want a piece of that, come into our partner program, submit a ticket to support and ask to be part of the partner beta group, and then we'll set you up with an account, and it's a free for life account, so it's terrific. Over $500 value per year. So it's really good stuff. So going through that, let's get to our dashboard and take a look at what our dashboard looks like. And our dashboard's actually going to be just got a facelift, which will be published tomorrow. So here we have update to news. Again, information about the Collaborate beta is posted here. We have central management, which lets you see backup activity, so the current status of backups, what they look like. You can filter by status. You put your email address in here, and you get a daily digest of the statuses of all the deployments you have. And you can get a summary of what happened the last time it was active. So here we have total files, 2,400, 1.8 gigs. None of them changed this backup, so it's fine. The reason we have it red is because the backup hasn't run in the last week. Well, we use this for all of our trials. So when the trials expire, we should have our reps removing these accounts, but it just shows you what's going on. You can filter by OK and just say, let's see what's going on. So here we have a demo accounts that we have open all the time, so we can see how many files were processed. So here we have 2, and 2 are backed up. So it's really flexible in what you can get done. If we go back, you have backup activity history. So if you want to see the history for a specific account or a specific deployment, then you can get this, and you can export this to your customers. So if they want to see, okay, I want to see what backups happened in the last 30 days. Well, I look up now my account, and it shows all the different machines that I've been running this account on. And you can export this information to an Excel file, and it just gives you a summary of what's going on. And this is, this is the first iteration of this new dashboard. So we rebuilt the backup agent, and now we've just finished the major framework for rebuilding our partner dashboard. Then you have the account section, gives you account summary, as well as the ability to upgrade or cancel or change email for accounts. And then the management licensing, rebrand settings, so you can change your product name or the logo used for the client software in here at any time you want. The branding updates after the customer logs into the software. So they'll download and install a generic online backup and recovery manager, and then upon login, it'll publish with your product name, logo, and desktop logo. Then here we have our web integration package. The web integration package is a very unique program. So originally, the web package was built for this sign-up page. As all software companies, or as most software companies do, we have certain APIs that allow developers to program against our system. So the primary purpose would be for merchant account integration. So if you wanted to have a web page like this where you could accept money for people buying backup accounts from you, then you could build that. So we have APIs for create account, upgrade, cancel, get account information. We're going to be releasing APIs over the next 3 to 6 months for file level actions. So you could actually build out your own mobile applications if you wanted, or build certain things into your own system. So we're really expanding on the developer community. This web package is built by a strategic partner of SOS, and the primary purpose is for merchant account integration. So within that, over the last year and a half, we've added a lot of other modules. So we have View Gateways, which lets you set up Authorize.net, PayPal Pro, Standard, eWay, or Paygate. Paygate's for our South African customers, eWay's for our Australians, and PayPal Standard is for those who can't qualify for other options. PayPal Pro and Authorize.net are the recommended options to go through. We have a mailer built into this, basic support ticketing system, a content management system. So if you go to partnername.onlinebackupcheckout.com, this is literally the default content that you'll be delivered. And then you'll be given a simple content management system where you can edit the copy and the images and the colors used here. So you see here it is in the content manager, here it is published. We also give you a CSS editor, which is a new addition just this last spring, where you can have access to CSS and you can actually upload the logo that's used right here, and also go through and get real creative. Now those of you who are like me and don't know the first thing about actual web development, but you can read that, okay, if I want to change font size in the body, I can change this from 14 to 16, then great. Any more than that, don't expect anything from me. But it lets you modify what's here pretty simply. The color codes, you can scroll through this and see what you got. For those of you who do have web development resources or are web developers yourselves, have a ball. There's no upload CSS, so you're going to be copying and pasting over, but we've seen some of our partners get real creative and really do wonders with the CSS editor we've added. For additional custom development, which you don't have access to do because you do not have FTP access to this, you have our strategic partner right now, Web Design, to go through and get that custom web development. A lot of our partners do. We even had some of our partners who have multiple businesses contract out complete separate websites of this, and it's really nice to see that relationship is so strong and provides, again, a one-stop shop for what you need to get done and get into the market. So now that we've gone over that, let me pull up our software client. So first let me log in to this virtual machine. Any questions what we've gone over so far while this loads up? All right, looks like it's just went through a reboot, so we'll have this boot up in a minute. How does the program sound? Is it, we like to think of SOS as being on the leading edge of serving our partners so that they can be most successful. And what do you think about that? Do you feel that the items that we are including here are common? Are they uncommon? Are they exciting to you? What sounds most exciting? And we do have some people on the webinar today who are partners already, and I hope that all of you are actively participating in the partner forums. It's a great way to get information about what's available, what's happening, and what's coming out. So all of our partners, you're going to be getting, we're all getting a sneak peek right now at what is going to be released tomorrow. So it's going to be, we're at version 5.3 right now. We're going to be moving to version 5.4 of the software client, so that's exciting. Ed K has a question. Okay, is the backup scanner available for partners? If so, how do we get it? Well, the scanner is a part of the software client. So when they log in, the first page that comes up upon a first login is the scanner settings. So it's already there. As far as a separate scanner application, there is none. It's built into the software client. Okay, so here we have the ServerSave executable. The ServerSave executable is a wrapper application that includes our main 3 items. So this has a 4th, but this is just because this is it's a demo, and really I should release it as a special case. But we have these 3 items. It's the Online Backup and Recovery Manager, which is the online backup tool. It's going to take files offsite and recover them from the SOS cloud. Bare Metal Image Creator. This is part of the ServerSave suite. This is going to allow you to select specific volumes on your servers and create bare metal image backup schedules for those volumes. So this lets you recover those volumes as virtual drives, or with a boot disk, you could spin up a new machine. Exchange Granular Recovery, EGR. This is for Exchange Granular Recovery. So if you're using Image Creator and you have an Exchange server, you would select the volume that Exchange is sitting on, and then when you recover that information, you'll open up EGR, select the EDB file from Exchange, and then you'll be able to do a very granular restore, search, and modification of the Exchange server through this program. And all of this is included in the single ServerSave license. Most systems, you have to have first an add-on to Backup Exchange. Then you need an add-on to have granular Exchange recovery. And even having that add-on doesn't mean it'll work. You still have to go back to your original backup job and go into advanced settings and enable granular recovery. So if you don't do that, then you've paid for an additional granular recovery license, and it's not going to do you any good. And even beyond that, the functionality, this is just mind-boggling. So let's start off with the idea that let's schedule an image-based backup to a drive, a storage device, and then we're going to schedule an online backup to take that image off-site, and the files off-site. We're going to look at what it takes to get those files back from the cloud, and then we'll restore as a virtual drive with Image Creator, and then we'll also do a granular recovery of Exchange. All right, so we open this up. And I'm going to go to backup jobs. I'm going to remove the backup job that's already scheduled from a previous demo so I can show you all the different options. But through the tabs here, we have the wizards that lets you create a backup job. It lets you restore from a Shadow Protect Recovery Environment CD, so if it's from a blank machine. And then Explore Backup, which lets you restore as a virtual drive if you already have an OS up and running. Disk Map, just a Windows volume manager, All of this function is done through the wizard, so you don't need to come through here typically. Backup jobs, again, your list of backup jobs, you could run, edit, or delete, or you can just say add new, and it'll actually throw you into the wizard. So you don't know go in there. Destination path, so again, this is also handled through the wizard, but you could set it up here if you wanted. And then backup history just gives you a log of what's happening in very clean English. So for this one, it shows that didn't have access to that specific file for whatever reason, couldn't run a backup. So very simple to do. So create a backup job. First, we go to backup, hit next. Then we're going to select the volume. Now, with taking image-based backup off-site, you need to be more specific. For just a local backup, we would just select both these volumes. But if you're going to go off-site, you want to be more specific because every gig of data could be a potentially additional hour to 2 hours worth of recovery and or backup. So you have to be more particular and more specific in what you're actually running backups for. So I'm going to select just the volume that Exchange is sitting on. I hit next. Now it's going to ask me where do I want to write this backup to? Well, you should put it to some network location. We recommend actually putting together a staging machine, which is a recommended Windows 7 box with 8 gigs plus a RAM, enough free space, enough storage space to handle not only the images that are there, but also creating with the idea that you may use this machine to split it up into a couple of VMs in case of a disaster recovery. So this becomes your backup box. It's not recommended. You could always just throw it to a NAS device, but for better performance and better overall backup solution, we recommend setting up a staging machine. And if you search our knowledge base for staging machine, we have a number of articles that discuss this, and also the forums that we looked at earlier. How do you have ServerSave set up? That's also a great place to discuss various options. So for now, I'm just going to select the F drive. So it's a virtual drive. We're just going to go to the F drive. I don't have a network location set up. Now we're in scheduling. So local backup strategy and historical image-based backup, you do a full backup once a week, incrementals throughout the week, then a full backup again. This is to make your recovery steps simpler. So, to restore to Friday, we would need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 steps, recovering an incremental from each day. That's given that we're running 1 incremental a day. If we're running 11 incrementals per day, then you have 60 steps. Well, this system has an intelligent recovery chain where it just says, oh, this is the most recent file. Well, this is the whole chain that you're going to need to get there. We're going to go ahead and put this together for you and run it all in once. I think we're going to see that in a minute. For online backup, this doesn't work because your full backup may be a whole lot of data. So when you're talking about getting images off-site, we do what's called a continuous incremental schedule. So you're going to run a full backup once, and then you're only going to run incrementals from then on. Shadow Protect also recommends that if you're doing this, you can use a program called Image Manager, which is a separate application that can consolidate your incrementals into weekly incrementals or monthly incrementals. And this is really good for keeping your restore point objective very small, meaning restore point objective, how long ago was this backup run that I can restore to? What's my exposure to loss? An RPO of 1 hour means I have up to 1 hour of lost productivity, and that's currently what we're set up at. Your typical backup strategy, where you're running an incremental every night, means you have a 24-hour loss window. You can lose up to 24 hours of information. Also, what this does is it puts you at a greater risk for software error. If one of those incremental backups fails, then your whole chain is failed, and you can't do anything about it. So you have to go then do another backup, which means you're at 48 hours of loss. So your RPO is very important to keep in track. So this is going to create an absurd number of incrementals every day. And then an SOS can back those up. And then you're going to have Image Manager run a consolidation of those, whether on like a weekly or a monthly basis. So that way, instead of having 66 backup files for the week, it just consolidates it into one. And then we've built a unique wizard that's actually going to replicate that consolidation in the cloud. So what it does is this separate wizard is used just for this scenario where it will remove files from the cloud that have been removed locally due to your retention policies for this system. Okay, so we change incrementals, hit next. This system does use VSS, so be aware. It uses VSS. Monogamous program is like being used by other things. Compression method, high standard, standard is pretty standard. This is the local encryption, so we hit advanced. We can set the level of encryption there, so AS128 or 256. The system does use VSS to handle open SQL databases, open Exchange databases, open files. For files that do not have VSS writer, then VSS doesn't matter. So you may have some old accounting databases. Anyone have old databases that they can think of offhand that are not going to play nicely with VSS? These are this is essentially what, when you ask, can it back up an open file? This is what we're talking about, is that transactionally consistent backup. So if you have an older database that doesn't have VSS writer, you'd be able to create a little bat file and just have that program shut down, stop the database before the snapshot happens, then start it back up after the snapshot. And then maybe post back if you restart. I don't know, it's up to you. But this is something that you can do so that you have essentially a open, you don't have to manually stop and start a database regardless of what type. Either it will be VSS compatible or it won't, and you can write a little command in here. For efficiencies in getting data offsite and recovering data from the cloud, we recommend that you split up your images into 5 to 10 gig chunks. So if I add a 0 here, that's a little over 5 gigs. No need to be specific. It's easy to just hit one key. So we have this ability to split it up. And again, intelligent file chain, it doesn't change your recovery steps at all. So this is a nice way to make your backups of the large image faster. So if you have a 200 gig, 500 gig server, you create an image of it, or volume for that matter. You create an image of that 500 gig volume. It compresses by about 50%. 250 gig file is going to be a testament to the strength of that machine, and also it's going to take some time, and you're going to do yourselves no favors by trying to push that up at once. If you split it up into chunks, it's going to be a much smoother backup experience. So we hit next, summary, finish. Now we have a backup job running. If you want a report, you can go to agent options, and you can put in the email to address and from address to alert you what happens with this backup. Now for the online backup. So we hit this, and it's going to launch our online backup software. And this is where the sneak peek comes in. So we log into the software, and then we get these 3 tabs. Right now we have backup, restore, and image stream. Image stream is a wizard specifically designed for these images. So again, we go to image stream backup, and I selected the F drive, which contains all of the image-based backups we've scheduled. And I hit next. I have it on a schedule. Backup Windows user is not logged on. This is very important, especially if the whole SOS system is based on the Windows user permissions that you're logged in at. So you need to be an admin if you're installing. You need to be an admin to set up a scheduled task with service. And this is if you're on a Windows domain to enter this credential as well. Or if you're not on a domain but you just have admin credentials and you're currently logged in as a user, the admin would enter their credentials here, and then everything would be set up properly. So we hit finish. Now we have a backup job, and it's also going to run. So we can take a look at what's running. And what it's going to do is, again, it's going to look at the backup set, and if you have incremental files which have been removed by your consolidation schedule, then it's also going to remove them from the cloud. If it didn't do that, you'd have a lot of duplicate data in the cloud. So this is running. So what does recovery look like with this system? Well, we have a restore option here where we get an online restore, and it's going to refresh from the server, and we can go back in time to any point which we had this backup account. So let's say I go all the way back to January. I'm going to hit next. And it gives me a list of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 machines. Okay. So if I go back and say, just forget it, like show me the most recent, this is going to show you all the machines we have on here. So we have a Mac Mini on here, some other machines, Lasso demo, which is what we're looking at now. Open up the F drive, and here's our files. So let's say we want to recover this whole chain of backup jobs. So backup job 1, incremental 1 through 6. And we hit next. And because it's just files, we'd probably just go to a new location, but you can have a default location as well. And I wouldn't include the original file path. So the whole system is based on complete file path, machine name to extension. But we would need to do that just for simple files. If we had subdirectories that we were recovering, then we'd want to keep that path. So we hit finish, and then start recovering. I'm not going to do that now just because of the time for the demo. So we restored those images. So let's say I go to backup drive. Where is that done? Looks like that backup finished. So here, I'm not even in the program, but I have the images here. Let's say I wanted to restore backup job 1, incremental 6. I right-click, and I hit Quick Mount. We do the countdown to when it's going to create a new virtual drive based on the file chain that it needs to recover to get to incremental file 6. So there it is, Exchange Volume G. Now it's going to put me right into it. There we go. And now we have that Exchange data available. So now we've gone through creating a backup with Image Creator. We took the image files offsite with online backup and recovery. We recovered them with this program from the cloud. We then mounted it as a virtual drive with Image Creator. And now that we have the data back, let's open up EGR and see what we can do with that Exchange data. All right, so we load this up. Now we're going to search for our source file. So where is that EDB? Exchange database. So I get my computer. I'm going to open up the G drive we just recovered. Exchange, mailbox, EDB. Hit open. We have transaction log file path automatically detected. We hit OK. And Eke has a follow-up question about the scanner. So when our clients go to our branded site, they can use the scanner. The scanner is a part of the software client. So as soon as they install the software client, they'll be able to use the scanner. So here we have what's been recovered by that EDB file and what that EDB contains. So we can open a PST. More specifically, we'd be opening up an Exchange server. So domain, server name, we hit OK. And again, we're not making up our own authentication rules. It's just going to be authenticating based on the Windows user. So if you're using EGR, you have to make sure that you're an administrator on the Exchange server. There we go. Oops, cancel. So now it loads up the production information as well. So let's say scenario 1, user 1 comes and says, hey, I need this file. I don't remember who it's from or when it was sent. It was a few weeks ago, but it has an attachment about management items that I really need. So we come in here and we say, okay, let's search. We'll search his user and search for an attachment name with management. So we find now, and we have all these things. Is this the one? Oh, I don't know. Date, from, to, and most systems, this is as much as they'll give you. Well, double click and we get a preview. And then even more than that, let's see the attachment. That's the one. So we say, great. So we're going to expand his live mailbox, and we just drag and drop it into his inbox. Done. Let's say we need to drag and drop all these. No problem. Let's say we wanted to search across the whole backup. Maybe it's not in his inbox, but somebody in the internal network has it as an internal email. So you hit Find Now, it's going to pull up all this information. You can also save this report. So if you need to save this report for for any reason, HR violations and research, company mergers, company buyouts, whatever the case may be. You can drag and drop the mailbox right in here. You can take the whole EDV file and just drag the store onto this piece of hardware. Do you want to continue? Sure I do. Do you want to create mailboxes that do not currently exist? Yes, I do. Very simple, very easy to use. Even more than that, you have some Active Exchange rights. So we selected the Active Exchange folder, and let's say, hey, you know what? There was an email that was sent out to way too many people that had sensitive data about that management doc, and we want to delete all that. So we can search by just that one user or by all of them. Let's say these 3 users shouldn't have had that email. So we say, okay, hit find now. It's going to search through. Hit that, do a little shift select magic, right click, delete. And then all of a sudden, that mail is gone from the server. So it's a really simple system, very powerful system. And you don't have to have years of Exchange server management or knowledge to really be effective in this type of system. And that is the whole SOS system that we're giving you. So you have a local bare metal image option, local file and folder. Then you can take the images offsite. You can take the file and folder offsite. You can install the online backup and recovery manager directly on workstations and laptops, which a backup at the user's point is the most ignored point of backup in an environment. And most of you think, well, yeah, it's all on terminal services. It doesn't matter. Server, everything gets synced, on a daily basis. It's a 24-hour turnaround. Also, users are really good at accidentally or intentionally not saving things where they'll be synced up. So if you have a simple backup application that runs every hour for the user, then you have a 1-hour RPO for their file data. And if you give them access to that account, then they have proactive use. They can go into their web portal, and if they're on the road, they can pull up a mobile application and they can search through, and they could share a file with some other person via email. So it's a very flexible system, and it lets you really provide a solution that has an option for just about everything. Also, when you have your images up in the cloud, we have a cloud boot service where you can call us up and say, hey, things are really bad right now. I need you guys to recover and provide me access to this server. So what we'll do is, with your permission, we'll recover the images from your account, and then we will mount them in our environment as a virtual machine and provide you with some sort of VPN to that. That way you can get things up and running. So that's also another reason why you have the local backup strategy. But you really have a true belt and suspenders approach to backup with our system. Any questions on what we've shown you here today? Again, you want to talk to our partner specialists. They're going to go through everything with you that you need to go through. So what you need to know about what you're getting. Are you going to make some money on this? How do you position it to your customers? Once you're in the program, we have a lot of focus on your ability to remain and continue to be successful in the program. So you're going to have a manager to actually speak with and help you with, kind of formulating ideas and confirm or deny or come up with new ideas about how to market this. You also have availability to our staff. The Partner Beta Group is a terrific resource, so I would recommend being a part of that. If you are not already, if you're already a partner, become part of that. Just ask support to be a member. And you have really strategic discussions with not just a manager or a sales rep or a support rep, but me, the product manager, our CEO, our engineers. Everyone is active in the forums, so it's a really open community, and we like to keep it that way. Again, our focus since 2001 has always been partnerships, beginning with the most sophisticated, which had a lot of custom development behind it, and now the meat of our business is this partner program, and we believe that we do it better than everyone else. So again, 877-896-3611. Talk to a partner specialist. If you are not in North America, then the local number is +1-310-878-2626. And unless there are any other questions, we'll go ahead and end this now. All right, looks good. Thank you all for attending, and have a good one. We look forward to seeing you. Cheers.